Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome to the first episode of the HARKS podcast. I'm excited to be actually hosting this. It's been quite a while, it's been a long time coming. And I just want to give a little explanation towards this new sort of initiative that HARKS has introduced. So, of course, it's called the HARKS podcast, and it's a 6 episode series where we talk about we talk and tackle about questions that need more sort of answers or context towards. Um, we will be having guests around the world throughout, and we it's a bit of it's a bit of a hard one in terms of this sort of podcast because we do have a lot of challenges going through. But inshallah, hopefully everything goes well, and I'm actually thrilled to get this sort of started. I am your host Shafiq, and I will be hosting the 6 episodes, and inshallah we will be joined by co-hosts in the future for certain episodes with special guests, of course. Um, on today's episode, we're going to be talking about the Hussaini lifestyle. We want to try and figure out what that term really means, how we can implement this lifestyle into our own lives today. And to help guide us, we have none other than Sheikh Nabil Awan himself. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. Thank you so much for coming on today's episode.
No problem at all. So thank you for inviting me.
100%. I think it's always a pleasure to see you on our screens normally. I think you've been quite the rave ever since last Muharram.
No, astaghfirullah. I don't know. I don't know what all the noise is about there. Alhamdulillah.
No worries.
Can't complain. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Now, Sheikh, before we actually get into today's topic, I just thought that maybe you could give the listeners at home a little background of yourself. Of course, if they don't already know you.
I guess I don't know where to begin. I was born in Peterborough, England, and after my A levels, I decided to move to Qom to pursue Islamic studies. Midway through that, I did my undergrad in psychology. I did my master's in psychology. Just before COVID, we moved back to Qom, and then the pandemic hit. I've been doing this, seems like almost a lifetime, but about 17 years now.
MashaAllah.
Around the world. But it's not just the only thing I do. It is the thing I love the most, traveling to different communities, meeting different people. But I, have sporting hobbies as well, martial arts hobbies. So I like to keep myself busy in all different aspects, different things. I've had businesses. I've done roles as business development manager and stuff like that. So, alhamdulillah, I've had a varied experience in life. I've held political office as well in the
MashaAllah,
UK Labour Party. So alongside, alhamdulillah, all I say is that everything that I have and all the experiences that I've had is because of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, because of this service that I've been doing in whatever small way, but they've blessed me with so much in my life.
100%. I think that's something that honestly I think we all are kind of blessed to have, is that love and that drive that helps us throughout the day in terms of even regards towards the Ahlul Bayt. I do know that you are you're an instructor for Kung Fu. Is it Wing Chun, I believe?
Yeah, Wing Chun. Yeah.
That's actually a very interesting sort of skill to pick up in a sense. I don't think many people have done that.
Yeah, I think Wing Chun became famous after the Ip Man movies.
Okay.
Donnie Yen in there, and so a lot of people came to know what Wing Chun was. But I mean, I guess the earlier practitioner, Bruce Lee himself, first martial art he ever learnt was Wing Chun. and from that he created his Jeet Kune Do. Martial arts as a whole, there is a philosophy around most martial arts. Probably not Krav Maga. Wouldn't recommend
Mm-hmm.
that. But
Okay.
uh, but generally, Eastern martial arts. There is a fascination on my part with them, purely because of there's a philosophy, there's a discipline that comes along with learning a martial art. There's you discover your own limits as well. And then if you have a good teacher, alongside that, you learn that it also humbles you. Some martial arts and some instructors will make you arrogant. They'll make you think that you are the best martial artist. I was lucky to have an instructor who effectively said, "Look, this one size doesn't fit all," and this is one of the reasons that Master Yip Man was ostracized by much of the martial arts community, because he said, "Look, one size doesn't fit all. You need to
Yeah.
amalgamate different martial arts to be able to become a master, really." And I think that same philosophy applies even when we look at Islam or we look at our day-to-day life. You
Yeah.
cannot be one-dimensional in whatever you do. You must learn and become a more rounded person in order to become a better person, or to become a person even. If you're just one-dimensional, you'll never ever be able to really uncover your truth. And that's, there's a lot of at times deviations, controversies, new things that come up, and people are like, "Oh yeah, this is really wrong with the religion. For 1,000 years we've been told the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Here's what the truth is." And you're like, you know, it's a one-dimensional approach. The
Yeah.
religion is multi-dimensional. The sciences of the religion are multi-dimensional. You can't just take one world view and apply it. And it
Yeah.
applies to the religion, applies to martial arts, and applies to everything in life. You need to
Mm-hmm.
be a more well-rounded person, and I genuinely believe that martial arts helps you on that journey, along with other
100%.
other sports as well. But I mean, I think martial arts themselves, they come with an inherent respect as well. A lot of Eastern martial arts, respect for the teacher, respect for your fellow students. It's almost like a fraternity,
Yeah.
and so it's a very, very good thing. I would always
100%. I
advocate
think,
uh,
yeah.
practicing
I
martial arts.
think I think based off of that explanation and your sort of touch on it, it really intrigues a lot of people in terms of martial arts, because a lot of the times people just want to get into, boxing or mixed martial arts, MMA, just because of the hype, and don't
Yeah.
really understand that, that different sports have different sort of touches and philosophical backgrounds to them. So it's
Mm.
love the approach, honestly. I think I might start getting into it soon.
Inshallah. I look forward to it.
100%. So I just wanted to kind of start off the topic in question. Obviously, since it is the month of Muharram, and even though we have passed the 10 nights and 10 days of mourning, we still have a duty towards kind of mourning for Imam Hussein, and not just mourning, but taking action for our future and our generations to come. Um, Now, to sort of start off, like I said, I wanted to kind of start off with a fairly simple question, which is, what does the Hussaini lifestyle really mean? Because obviously we do have, we all want to kind of follow in the Imam's footsteps, and they all have lived sort of lives that we choose or hope to replicate as much as possible. So, what do you think, or how do you think you could really explain as what it means?
Um, the Hussaini lifestyle actually, in reality, means adopting the characteristics of Imam Hussein, his companions, into one's life. like, why is it that these individuals became so immortal? What characteristics did they have, that made them take such a stance with such courage that they were able to excel, and years have gone by and they're still remembered, and they're still, you'll name your children after them, you'll do everything in your power to try and emulate them. And I think the Hussaini lifestyle is, what are the characteristics that say the Shuhada had, and what is it that I can implement within my life, or which one of those should I have within my life? I think, in short, that is what the Hussaini lifestyle is.
Alhamdulillah. And I couldn't agree more. I think really interpreting or trying to kind of adopt that sort of lifestyle is even something on a personal note, is something I've been trying to do for the past, I believe, 2 years. And honestly, it does come with a lot of challenges and a lot of change for the better. But in that moment, you don't know if you would really sort of want, in a sense, which is, I don't know, I feel like is something that honestly, anyone that passes by me, I'll just say, just take his story, just 5 minutes of it, and just really reflect on it a little bit, and not just his tragedy, not just the tragedy of Karbala, but even before that, a lot of his life before that has a lot of lessons in itself that could really help in day to day life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think, yeah, I just want to use that sort of understanding and kind of open up a bit more towards today's day and age. Obviously, with the youth of today, I would say during the pandemic, a whole array of issues have sort of come up. And honestly, there's so many, it's really hard to tackle, even as a youth myself, trying to deal with certain situations, a certain post-pandemic issues, as people say. But one of the main things that I've noticed is positivity is something that lacks a lot, not just within our families, but even within communities at this point. When we kind of look at issues, it always stems towards that sort of lack of positivity in someone's life, especially after the post pandemic in particular. And sometimes it could be due to the lack of success in multiple areas, sometimes academics, social life, again, like I said, even within family. But it's how how can we use sort of Hussein and sort of his mission to change that missing piece in terms of positivity in our lives?
I guess it would be, um, what made Sayyid al-Shuhada so positive. Yeah, so that's what we have to look at. In the height of all this tragedy, what is it that gives him that sense of hope? And that is the connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He holds the body of the 6-month-old child in his hands, and then he looks towards the heavens. My Lord, this is easy for me to bear, knowing that you are watching. So that connection with Allah, that belief that God will never do wrong by me. Like, whatever I do, wherever I go, however it is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never ever do wrong by me. And no matter what the difficulty is, I, know that God has my best interests at heart. When I have that level of that outlook on life, then everything becomes positive. Because then I know, look, okay, if things aren't going well for me, and they might not be going according to my plan, but I know that God also has a plan, and God is also doing something for me, and He would never let me put myself, or He would never burden me with something that He knew that I could not bear. So I think that connection with Allah, actually, realizing that God is real. Fundamentally, everything comes down to that.
Yeah.
That do I really believe that God exists? Uh, and when I can say yes, I know He exists, then we work on, well, then this God that I know that exists will never ever do anything wrong by me, because He is a loving God. He is a merciful God. We're often brought up um, with this idea of a wrathful, vengeful God.
Yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
we're brought up with that notion, and it's totally incorrect. It's totally incorrect. There is so much mercy of God on the day of judgment, for example, that Shaitan himself will think, maybe I might be forgiven. The one that is the misguider of everyone. It's just
Yeah.
like, maybe I might be forgiven. So the mercy of God is so vast, and it encompasses everything. And when I realized that Allah is merciful, He is a merciful Lord, then naturally positivity will come my way. And when I can happily tell myself, look, this I will not, um, I will not allow myself to go down this destructive path, or down the rabbit hole of thinking I'm alone and there's nothing that can help me through my difficulties, because I know that Allah is always there to help me.
100%. I think speaking about this, I even remember this line that you had mentioned in one of your lectures where you said that it's so hard for someone to go to hell that if you go, it's honestly because it's basically really hard to go in. It's easier for you to go to heaven than it is to go into hell. And I think ever since you've said
Yeah,
that, it stuck by constantly with me, because then you start to look at kind of
you even
what.
you know,
Yeah, go ahead.
oh, sorry, I was going to say that, even if you look at the narrations, that day of judgment, someone is going, and he's being dragged to hell. He's saying, like, this person needs to go to hell. And as he's being dragged, he looks back towards the arsh of Allah, and the voice calls out that, stop, why did you look back? And he says, Ma hakadha dhannu bik. Says, my Lord, I didn't expect this from you. I didn't expect that you would throw me in hell. Even though I lived a
Yeah.
whole life of sin, I didn't expect that you would throw me in hell. Allah subhanahu wa
Mhm.
ta'ala says that I have accepted his lie, send him to heaven. Now the Urafa, when they discussed this, what do they mean by I've accepted his lie? Meaning, in the world, he didn't have husn dhan in Allah. He didn't have a good opinion of God. You know, he forgot God. But here, the fact that he's just simply lying about it, right?
Yeah.
He's got enough wherewithal within him to lie and say, I
Yeah.
didn't expect this from you. God says, I have accepted your lie. I mean, that's how merciful Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is.
And it's those sort of small stories that people don't take enough importance to, but it has such big meaning just towards his sort of mercy and forgiveness. And even if you look at, there's so much sawab in anything and everything that you do, that it's hard to even, like, by the time you go into guna, it's just it's crazy to think that there's so much sawab out there. Just a smile to someone, just thinking of a good deed, just in itself gives you that sort of sawab. um I do 100%
Yeah, I
agree
mean,
with that.
if you yeah, I mean, even if you look at the angels that are on your left and right,
Hmm.
and the narration say, look, every time you do something good, every time you intend to do something good, the angel on the right, the one that will write all your good deeds, will write one for you. You go and do that, he'll write 10 for you, and he'll do it quickly. But every time you sin, The angel on the left that is there to write down your sins, he's about to write down, but the one on the right says, wait, give him 7 hours before you write it. It shows us the two things. One,
Yeah.
the mercy of God. Number two, of these two angels, the superior is the right one. The one in charge is the one on the right. That's in charge of the good deeds, the noting
Yeah.
down of good deeds. So he now he's telling the other one, says, wait 7 hours, give him a chance, give this person a chance. They might end up doing a salah, doing istighfar, or doing something good. Because in al hasanat, your good actions, they
Yeah.
consume your evil actions. Yeah. So
Instantly.
it
Yeah.
says, give him 7 hours. So after every sin, you have 7 hours to rectify it. Now imagine the mercy of God.
It's crazy. It's honestly amazing. It gives a whole new outlook on everything that you do, even moving forward. I just wanted to,
Of
as
course.
much as much as I wanted to kind of, I just want to continue touching on or speaking about sort of youth. There is obviously we always remember the youth in Karbala and how their attachment to the religion at such a young age is honestly an inspiration. When you look at Shah Qasim, you look at Oni Muhammad, Hazrat Ali Akbar, amongst others, it's honestly, and it's honestly amazing to see. But a lot of the times with youth currently in today's world, at least, the approach, you see that approach or a Western idea of finding religion not really relevant. Like, you do your wajibat and that's just enough. You do your fast, you do your 5 prayers, and your parents will be off your back and you don't have to worry about anything else. You don't have to go for majalis or anything. Why or how do you think we've reached this sort of point, regardless of how many personalities and stories and lessons we can take?
Mm. You know, they're doing the wajibat. That's it. That's it. Like that's fine. You're doing your wajibat.
Mhm.
You're staying away from haram. No problem. That's fine. You don't want to go to majlis? Don't go. It's cool.
Yeah.
Because the majlis that we're doing is simply going to tell you this anyway, right? That's the whole point of it. Amr bil ma'ruf and nahi munkar. If you're doing your wajibat, you're staying away from haram, you're on the right path. Seriously. It's as easy as that. You don't need to complicate it with all these extra things that we add
Yeah.
on. If someone can do that, yes, coming to the mosque and being in a community has its benefits. Yeah, communal prayer, all of these things, they have their benefits as well. Now, why have we reached this state of apathy? I think it's because of a lack of inspiration, a lack of good role models, a disconnect between how one sees their elders act in the masjid compared to how they see them act outside of the masjid. Business practices versus how we act when we're in the mosque. We're unethical in terms of business, but we're holy as anything there. So a lot of youth, and rightfully, are like, whoa, I can pray and I can stay away from haram. I don't need to be amongst this hypocrisy.
Yeah.
And part of it is true. You could try and guide and develop the community, but at one point, the Quran says, "Qu anfusakum wa ahlikum nara." Save yourself and your family from the fire of hell. That's the one thing. So if you're saying that there's these youth that are not connected to the masjid, but they're praying, and even if they're praying to get their parents off their back, no problem. That's fine.
Yeah.
Because afterwards the ma'rifah will come. As long as they're consistent, the ma'rifah will come. And so I think, part of it is, okay, great. At least they're doing that. But yes, we need to try and up the game a little bit.
Yeah.
And when you look at those in Karbala and things like that. It's a whole different mindset. The way that, even aside from the Ahlul Bayt, there are people that are non Ahlul Bayt. There's a young guy, like 13 or 14, that the Maqatil talk about, and they don't actually say his name. They say his father was just killed in the battle, and so he goes out. He gets permission from his mother Zahir, and his mother is there as well. She's and this his father was one of the companions of Imam, so he gets permission. He goes out, and you just see like the ma'rifah of this child. He's only 13, 14. Not sure if he met Imam Hussein before when he arrived, but we know that his father had ma'rifah of the Imam, and so he and his mother had love of the Imam. And so when he writes out, Amiri Husaynun wa ni'mal amir sururu fu'ad al-bashir al-nadhir Aliyun wa Fatima walida. This is his war poem, Amiri Husaynun wa ni'mal amir. Hussein is my master, and what a great master he is. He is the source of peace for the heart of the Holy Prophet. His mother and father Ali and Fatima bin Nazir, then what greater honor, what greater virtue is there than this? In those four of those 4 lines of poetry, this young man has explained, his ma'rifah of the Imam, his understanding, even though he's not from Ahlul Bayt, but it goes back to those parents. It was those parents that instilled that love with purity, no hypocrisy.
Yeah, 100%. I honestly like that sort of outlook. It's, when you do your wajibat, eventually the ma'rifah will come. And that's, I think, something that everyone should keep in mind and take note of. As long as you're doing your wajib, I mean, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but as long as you're doing your wajibat with a sincere heart or a sincere intention, the rest sort of comes to you, just gravitates towards you in that sense.
No, you don't have to be sincere either. Just do your wajibat.
Oh, really?
The sincerity, all of that all comes after. That's all part of that understanding, that ma'rifah. At the moment, you're being forced to pray. Just, okay, cool. That's fine.
Just do it.
Yeah. But it will come. It will come. Just keep on with it. It's like when we're doing martial arts, for years we're just doing this one move. There's one move. But like, what in the world is this movement? And then afterwards we realize, oh wait, after 2 or 3 years, that wow, okay, so this is how I can outstep a straight punch and I can go around the outside and strike. At times things don't make sense, but inside it's a good thing for you. That's the fact. That's why you're praying, right? You're not pretending to pray and hiding away. You're praying, but you're not sincere. You're just getting it done. It's cool. It's fine. One day that ma'rifah will come. Just stick to it.
100%. I think I actually really like that answer. It gives a different outlook on things a lot. I think something I'll tell my brother as well. Just send the link to this podcast. 100%. Now, I feel like since we're anyways talking about Hussaini lifestyle, it's a bit of a question that I put down on a personal note. It's something I've kind of seen a lot lately, and it's something that I feel should be touched on a bit more. I feel like it's not being touched on in communities much. Although so it's something regarding truth. So although we a lot of the times currently we recognize the right from wrong, the truth from falsehood, a lot of the times, even after identifying what's right and what's wrong, people would just prefer to be neutral in that sort of situation, whether it's on a political stance or even an Islamic stance. It's a lot of the times they're like, no, I don't have much say. I don't have much say in this, or I prefer to stay away. Right? When you look at issues, whether it be in struggling countries whether look at conflicts, even when on an Islamic stance in our own school of thought, a lot of the times people just decide to be neutral and stay away from it. Why do you feel like that is the case? And if that is an issue, then how do we sort of tackle that sort of issue?
I think that um, it boils down to apathy
Hmm.
generally, and cowardice. Cowardice. Uh, if you're a coward, then no matter how much haqq is placed in front of you, you you will always side with batil, even though you know that haqq is true. Yeah. So that's the first thing. Yeah, Imam Ali comes. Someone comes to him in Yemen and says, Ali, are you with the haqq, or is the wife of the Prophet Talha and Zubair, are they with the haqq? Imam Ali says,
Hmm.
look, if I said to you, I'm with the haqq, you're not going to believe me. So the first thing is identify haqq, identify the truth, then find the people of the truth. Now, if you're saying that someone's identified the truth and knows something is wrong, but then they're like, I don't want to get involved, it's nothing to do with me, I don't want to rock the boat, I'll just stay quiet while this sin and this deviation is occurring, then that's cowardice. And in Karbala, we have examples of it. Umar ibn Sa'ad, pure cowardice. Imam Hussein alayhi salam comes to him, says to him, look, come join me. Uh, and he says, oh, I can't, this and that. Imam says, you know what? He goes, I know you're on truth and I know all of this, but, I have a family to take care of. Imam says, we'll take care of them. He says, but, they've offered me money. He says, we'll give you money as well. He says, they've offered me the governorship already. So all of these were excuses that were indicative of his cowardship. He realized where the truth was, but he chose not to go and join the Imam. This coward. It's the actions of a coward. Qadi Shurayh in Kufa, the one who, and Qadi Shurayh is the chief justice in the hukuma, in the government of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Imagine. And then when it comes to Ibn Ziyad coming to Kufa, that same Qadi Shurayh is the one who signs the fatwa saying that Imam Hussein is wajib al-qatl. So, it comes down to that cowardice. Doesn't want to go towards truth. There's too much attachment to this world, and doesn't want the truth to be known, or doesn't. The truth is hard, and that's the reality. Following the truth is hard, and it requires you to have a resolve of steel. Following truth will never ever be easy. Falsehood is always easier, and the coward will always go for the easier option.
So I was just saying that I hope that as things sort of change, I hope change for the better. We could see our sort of communities move away from the whole neutral aspect of things and move towards truth and staying away from the whole falsehood. It's something I really hope happens sooner rather than later, because um, it's sad to see sometimes. It's very sad to see. But since we're still on the topic of injustice in a sense, yeah. So since we're still on that sort of topic, I just wanted to quickly kind of touch on something. Imam Hussein stood up against injustice. He stood up for us as Shias and saved Islam for us in that moment. But it seems as though we would accept and be grateful for his sacrifice, but not move towards fighting injustice ourselves. Almost sort of similar to my previous sort of issue or question. But how do we take those steps towards really giving back and truly being grateful for his sacrifice rather than just sitting and remembering his story year in, year out?
The retelling of the Karbala narrative and the
Hmm.
story is very important. It has been emphasized by all of the Imams to remember. He says because someone asked the Imam, like, why do you place so much emphasis on Ashura, the first 10 nights of Muharram, the morning of Sayyid al-Shuhada? Because he says, because I fear that the people will forget Ashura like they forgot Ghadir. Yeah, and history has told us, like a huge event like Ghadir,
Ghadir.
just forgotten by the Ummah. Yeah, just forgotten by historians,
Hmm.
ashab. So the Imams very much emphasized the day of Ashura and the 10 nights of Muharram and the morning for Abu Abdullah. So that is a very good thing. The second thing is that when you come to talk about um, injustice, stance against oppression, all of this is just all. These are all byproducts, and that's why we haven't been able to emulate that. They're all byproducts. Byproducts of what? Of Imam's dedication to God. Yeah,
Yeah.
his main purpose to go to Karbala wasn't fight the despot, wasn't all this. It was for Allah. And
For
as a
Allah.
result of it, a byproduct of that going to Karbala was he became the face of the stance against injustice. He became the face of the face of those that are oppressed around the world. He became a figurehead. But the fundamental thing was that he went for the sake of God. Now, why haven't we been able to emulate any of those? Because we're not going for God.
Yeah.
The aim is never for God. We're always going after the little side parts. We're asking the whole world who is Hussein, but actually we ourselves don't even know. We ourselves don't even understand. And that's the problem. So we can go out and we can give out as many roses as we want, but it's not gonna attract people to the deen. You might attract them to Imam Hussein, but Imam Hussein was attracting you to God. Yeah? And so
Yeah.
we're going out and we're doing all this, but do I really understand what Sayyid al-Shuhada went to Karbala for? You know, why the importance. Like, I've seen many of these campaigns and they're like, yeah, we want to take the message of Imam Hussein, but we don't want to talk about Azadari, we don't talk about crying. But Imam Hussein himself talked about crying. Imam Hussein
Yeah.
alayhi salam as well said, remember me, cry over me, wail over me. We're just going to blanket remove that from the whole mission of Hussein. No, these tears, these mourning ceremonies, they have a benefit to the human soul and the human psyche. That aside, I think one of the reasons why we haven't truly been able to, and I'm not knocking any campaign. I think is great. People are doing their own thing. It's just we need to adjust our vision. It's just a slight tweak, and that is that Imam Hussein alayhi salam went to Karbala for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as a free man. We are slaves. Yeah? We are
Yeah.
slaves. Slaves of this world. And there's two beautiful lines in that Imam Hussein has. One is said that he said it in Karbala or maybe in this journey. He says, "An-nas abid ad-dunya wa din la'iqun ala alsinatihim." So mankind is a slave of the world, and the religion is but a taste on his tongue. When it suits him, he keeps it. But when he's tested with difficulty, then kalla dayanun. Then very few of them are religious. Then very few of them
Religion.
kalla dayanun. Very few of them maintain that religion. They leave it. That's the first one. Second one is Imam Hussein when he falls from his horse and he's lying motionless. They say that we thought he had died. So nobody would dare approach him. So they said, how do we check if Hussein is alive or dead? So someone said, look, I will shout out turn your horses and turn them towards the tents. Yeah. And so he shouted out, attack the tents. And as the horses began to move, the body of Imam Hussein began to move. He lifts himself up. He holds onto a broken spear and he lifts himself to his knees because that's all the strength he has left in his body. And he calls out to them, he says to them, look, if you don't have a religion, وَلَا تَخَافُونَ الْمَعَادِ, and you don't fear the day of judgment, كُونُوا أَحْرَارًا فِي دُنْيَاكُمْ, at least be free men in this world. Don't attack the tents and the women and the children. Yeah, at least be free men. Imam Hussein alayhi salam is from these two statements. He went as a free man that's not attached, that's not worried about what people will think. When haqq is haqq, his brother came, his brother-in-law came, his the other ru'asa and the people came. Don't go, don't go. This is just do bay'ah. Abdullah ibn Umar, the son of the second Khalifa, is like, just do bay'ah to Yazid. It's okay. He'll pass. He'll only be here for a few years. He's on a path of self-destruction anyway. Mom said, no, we can't. So we're doing all of these campaigns and stuff like that, and we're trying to tackle injustice, but we're not tackling the fundamental reason that that drove Imam Hussein. Imam Hussein's why. Imam Hussein's why was God. Like, why are you
It's
doing
God
this?
himself.
It's because God. This is why I'm doing it. I'm doing it for God. So although we think no, I can't quit. People are doing it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but at the same time, there needs to be an adjustment so that we truly are doing it without the attachment of, people do these marketing campaigns, and I've been quite close to a few of them, and it just becomes about how many billboards can we get it on, how many
Yeah.
buses can we display on, how many phone booths, and how many people, all of these things. But that's not the
How many
aim.
clicks?
That's not the aim. And we become taken with all the small things, and we just don't. We've lost that aim. Imam Hussein
Yeah.
fundamentally went for God. It was a godly act that he did. It was an act of servitude to God, what he did. And then a byproduct of it is a stance against injustice and all the other things.
So, would you say that the Hussaini lifestyle just links back to living in the way of God?
Yes, fundamentally, that's what it is. Living a God-centric life, a life that is, one is asking themselves constantly, what does God want from me? What does my Imam want from me? I mean, what my Imam wants from me and what God wants from me is one and the same thing. There's
Yeah.
no difference. The Imams are the manifestation of the 100% manifestation of the sifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They draw directly from the essence, from the names of God, and then through them the rest of all of these things are distributed to the
Throughout.
angels and all of the. But the wali of God, those at the level of wilayah tamma, at total wilayah, draw directly from God. They are the barrier between the makhluk and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But between them and Allah, there is no barrier.
There is no
And
barrier.
so,
Yeah.
whatever the Imam and whatever Allah wants are one and the same. So, I fundamentally must live that godly life if I'm ever to try and implement the lifestyle of Imam Hussain alayhi salam.
Alayhi salam. Sheikh, that really was honestly an eye opener, I think, for everyone listening and beyond. And I think it's
Sure.
something that's, again, something that you've said that's really going to stick. And I hope sticks with everybody else listening to this. Before we sort of end this episode and before we draw this to a close, I just wanted to ask something quickly. This is something I want to sort of ask all of our guests that come on, is what's one piece of advice that you'd like to give to the youth today? Oh, of course, there's a million, there's a lot that you've said, but what's that one piece of advice that you just want to give for all the youth currently?
Now you've put me on the spot.
Put you on the spot, yeah. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be something that big,
I
don't worry.
think the one piece that is more, yeah, the one piece of advice that I will give to everyone is ask yourself, what is your ambition in life? Imam Ali alayhi salam, he says, قدر الرجل على قدر همته. What does he live for? What does he get up in the morning for? If you're living for a godly aim to try and change society, to make things better, even if that godly aim is by going to work, by earning it, so that then you can develop your community, then do that. But at the same time, Imam Ali says, the man who goes to work or the woman who goes to work and their sole ambition in life is just to eat, just to put food on their table and eat it, says their worth is equivalent to that which comes out of their backside having consumed it. It's a massive statement. So
Yeah,
the first thing is that live for a higher goal, live for a higher purpose. And I think if we can inculcate that ambition in ourselves and live for a higher purpose, know that I am limitless. My ability to progress is limitless because God is limitless. Then when I understand that, then I'll push myself and try and become the best version of myself that I can.
100%. Thank you. And on that note, I think, Sheikh, I'd like to thank you so much. It was honestly a pleasure having you on this first episode of the HARKS podcast. We really do appreciate you even taking the time out for this. It's honestly amazing. And we hope, inshallah, to see you again very, very soon, sooner rather than later.
Inshallah.
And inshallah, I hope everyone listening enjoyed this podcast. And inshallah, we'll be doing more over the course of the next month. So please keep on staying tuned. We'll keep posting updates as and when needed. And with that, wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
لبيك بقتل الحر وابن القين وابن شبيب لبيك بمقتل مسلم يا مولاي وقتل حبيب لبيك بقتل الحر